Okay, welcome back.
Welcome back after our brief food and/or general rest break.
Yeah, it was also extended a little bit due to some technical difficulties on everybody's end, actually. Just, no
General
surprise,
server
Hearthstone
issues all
client.
round.
Yeah. So we've just ended the first part of the finals game. It's currently 2-1 in favor of Ward27. Sorry,
So,
Seiliez.
yeah,
My
Seiliez.
mistake.
But
It's currently 2-1 in favor of
possibly
Seiliez.
one match left, possibly two. We'll have to see.
Yeah. So.
Possibly three rather.
Possibly three.
That would be a reverse sweep would be very interesting, or at least an almost reverse sweep would be very interesting.
Definitely. So as we know, Seiliez is down to his last deck, the Druid, at the moment, which we have found out is a Mill Druid. Interesting to see. Quite a fun deck to play as well.
It was working out relatively well for him at one point, but because he was up against Zoo, he did take a few hits. I can really see that being a lot more painful against stuff like the Tempo Mage, where he's going to have his hand flooded, won't necessarily be playing too many cards, and if he has the wrong starting hand, it could really backfire against him. No, not backfire against it, play to his favour against the Tempo Mage.
Of course, I mean, if anything, Zoo is the counter deck to the Mill Druid, and we saw Ward27 play that perfectly with, calculating his burst, knowing what was left in his deck, and
knowing exactly to the number the very clutch final card handed to him, the Soulfire.
Definitely.
It was very good into the game.
Okay. So we have found out that the players are ready to go. So as soon as they transition into the game, we will too. So I'm curious to see what Ward27 will be bringing, considering Seiliez. Seiliez is playing Mildred, and Ward27 needs both of his decks to beat Mildred. So at the same time, I mean, Ward27's Paladin has not been revealed at this point. I mean, unless did he play it in the previous series?
I think he played it against me, and from what I remember, there's a small chance that it will backfire, and he'll have his hands stacked up a bit. He could have a weapon or two in his hand that just end up pushing it over, and if he ends up having his now what's he called? The chap with the Ashbringer.
Tyrion Bordering.
Tyrion burns away, then he could be in trouble.
I think the obvious play here for Ward27 is to go full-on aggressive. He needs to play on curve. He needs to dump as many cards as he can. And they are going into game. We're finding a good seat for everyone.
Yeah, even if he can't quite manage on curve, if he can dump some of his lower cost cards as he's forced to draw them, he should be able to sustain his position. What he really wants to avoid is stacking up some of his later game cards, as people commonly do in that kind of position, with particularly some Paladin decks more than others. But I mean, particularly we saw the Tempo Paladin come up from Seiliez earlier, and it was a dangerous deck to come up against. But against someone like a Mill Druid, that would be a... Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, I'm sure that's just a small visual bug on my end.
Oh, I have the exact same bug, actually.
The Raven Idol bug or the green swirly bug?
The green swirly bug.
The green swirly bug's gone for me. I had a bug where Raven Idol was actually appearing on my screen before it was cast. I'm just hanging around for a bit, but I had the green swirly bug last turn. Looks like we've got a Wrath coming out this turn from Seiliez. Question is, does he go for the one card draw, or does he go to straight... He went for the damage. There we go.
Going for the damage. I don't think Cycling at this point is particularly effective for him. Just a second, as we'll transition quickly to try and remove the bug.
That's right. So just the Crocolisk played on Ward's turn, and just hero power and a hit to the face after drawing a mulch for Seiliez. Passed back over.
Yeah, we're back in now, so...
Awesome. So we've just seen the Scarlet Crusader go down, and a hit to the face by Ward's Paladin, Ward's Crocolisk.
We do see him preparing for a swipe here, with taking care of the Divine Shield with his hero power. He is playing off curve at the moment, which means he is behind a little bit. If Ward27 can correctly identify that this is preparation for a swipe, which he does with the taunt.
So he gets the Sinjin out, which is a very good play on his part. Means that either that goes or everything goes. The Starfall, a very nice pickup here, though. I'm not sure.
He is
the 5 damage.
I think he is opting for the 5 damage here.
Yeah, the 5 damage on the Sinjin is definitely the better pickup. It's a shame because if it had been a lower cost minion, it definitely would have been in Seiliez's favour. The Spellbreaker being drawn, but nothing really to play it on, so it looks like, yep, the Shattered Sun Cleric.
I expect Shattered Sun Cleric into hero power. Now he's brought all of these minions out of swipe range.
Yeah,
and this is
very well played on that part.
This is very strong for Ward27, and I think he's playing against this this Mildred very effectively.
Yeah, I mean the only real threat he has would be if what's that? Just barely. Okay, interesting.
He is one turn behind from the Stormwind champion. I expect him to prepare for a Stormwind champion next turn, with the True Silver champion trading in the 1/1. But maybe he's afraid of his... Wait, I think at this point he shouldn't be afraid of his life total. I think that is the play he's opting for. He's hovering the True Silver champion. And yes, he is. So, I mean,
by far the best choice he could have made there.
That 6 damage to face is not a threat to him, and he opts to keep his board stable, playing against the swipe. I mean, this swipe isn't going to be very effective, not until some spell damage is drawn.
I mean, that's the thing. He has the Seiliez does actually have 2 Azure Drakes and 2 swipes in hand at the moment. It's just he hasn't got the mana to play it yet. Unfortunately, didn't get any kind of ramp on it. I mean, his deck doesn't actually contain any ramp, so he just hasn't had the chance to play any of it. I mean, he's managed to clear off the board, so it wasn't too bad for him in that regard, but definitely painful that he couldn't get out the Azure Drake to help him cope with that.
At the same time, Blessing of Kings in hand, alongside just a 3-mana 3/3, that's still a lot of damage. Could be preparing for a lethal here. I expect him to play the Blessing of Kings, just put on that extra pressure. He's opting to go for the Stormwind. Now this we can see will be mulched off immediately. He has to expect the mulch and the 2 naturalizers that are in this deck.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to keep the pressure without losing the instant lethal that he's hoping for with the
Blessing of Kings,
probably the Consecration and Blessing of Kings combo.
That is true. If he does force out a mulch here, that is 3 mana gone, leaving only 5 mana for Seiliez to work with.
Oh, and there's the Wrath. That's the.
Sadly, he does not find the lethal this turn.
There's a Bloodfen Raptor. Anything with anything with charge would have been very problematic for Seiliez, and there's the Feral Rage. Of course, opting for the health because in the position, the armor rather, because in the position that he's in, he can't really do much. A second Blessing of Kings, that could be huge. That puts him at exact lethal with a Bloodfen Raptor and a Reinforce.
He could potentially also play the 3/3.
The Consecrate. This is a very nice position for him to be in.
This is still vulnerable to swipe. I'd have expected
It is vulnerable to swipe, but then he forces the swipe, and there's the Moonglade Portal, so now he's healed back. Seiliez is healed back up. He's stalling this out nicely. And the Inspire Coda, that is a very, very nice trade up for him. That's works out incredibly well. Given him health, given him armor, given him 2 minions. I don't think he could have asked for much more. The Blessing of Kings or Consecrate may have to be burned. There we go. And that's some of the instant lethal. Is he going to play it? I should think so.
He is hovering it. Now we could see Consecration. I mean, does he plan to trade and then Aldor the remaining?
No. It looks like he may be planning to Blessing of Kings. Though he would be better off playing Eldor to take down the attack of the Kodo Rider and then hitting it with the Bloodfen.
Yeah, that does force immediate trade, but once again he is vulnerable to swipe that way. Swipe, obviously the thing that he's trying to play
There
around.
it is. So this was the play I was expecting. Bring out the Recruit as well. Unfortunately, as you say, it's incredibly vulnerable to swipe, which is in hand.
That is
That's
very unfortunate.
nice. Well, that's a very nice set of draws for Seiliez, getting the Naturalize in case any more threats come down, especially with that Senjin that's just been picked up. And the Doomsayer gives him even more stall time until he can pick up his Brand and his Cold Light.
Hovering the Spellbreaker.
Your magic shall not
Fearing
fail.
that spell. Both swipes have been used.
Both swipes have been used. We've seen what if I remember correctly, is the single moon. There's a second-rate Bruiser. That's a really nice top deck. And another. That's very nice on his part.
He's considering the Naturalize.
Yeah, that makes sense. He just wants to clear off as much of the threat as he can, and getting rid of the Taunt. I mean, it gets him further into his mill. The True Silver and the Silverhand Knight being put into his hand. So it's not like
I like the Silverhand Knight here. Partly because it develops 2 minions in place of 1, and it also preps for an MC tech in the next turn, and that might just be the tempo shift he needs
Ready, sir.
to sort of secure the lethal. It is currently 16 HP on Seiliez's side, and I'm sure Ward27 knows there is one more Feral Rage in that deck.
and he will be expecting the Doomsayers as well, because neither of those have gone down this game yet. So, though again, that's something for Seiliez to remember. Really, I mean, he's got both of his Doomsayers. If he can stall out one turn, then having the Doomsayer down next turn really does pay off for him.
At this point, I feel like Seiliez might be thinking about pushing for lethal himself. Ward27's
Yeah,
life total is quite low. He's down to 18 HP at this point.
Down
There
to
he
18.
is.
That's a total of 12 across the board. And the Fendril will definitely be a nice pickup for him there.
That is a lot of damage to face.
That's a solid 16. No, he's going to clear out the Silverhand Knight.
He's choosing to trade. He's worried about surprise burst.
Understandable, given that both of the the Blessing of Kings are currently in the hand of Ward. Not having seen either of them go down must be cause for a little hesitation at the very least.
First time in this game we do see we see Seiliez being the aggressor with his Mill Rogue.
But the mind control tech, oh, and it pulls the Fendril. That's so helpful for him. If a Jade Idol had come out at this stage, it would have been quite dangerous.
I expect to see him play all of his minions at this point. The problem is, he is... I mean, is there any way around the lethal here? I think this might be it. With the taunt that's there, this... he really needed to pull the taunt.
It didn't look like there was anything more he could have done, really. I mean, he did everything he could. He pulls the Fendril, and that's the most he could have hoped for, really.
Yeah, that's game. There's
That's
no way
lethal.
around this.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Just for the sake
Only
of
he
show, I
had-
suppose.
Yeah, if only he had drawn the consecration. Quite unfortunate. Exact people on board.
And then the Raven Idol is drawn.
Seiliez going in for some BM. He just plays the Raven Idol. Oh no, he is cycling the rock.
The Blood Mage Thalmos. Into the Naturalize.
This
There's
is
a Bran.
the final game of the tournament, and we do see Seiliez taking his time.
That's well played. It was a good set overall,
It was a
going
good
3-1.
No,
Ward did manage to push back, but I mean, couldn't quite get around the control that the Mel Druid had in the end.
indeed. Ward27. We did say earlier that he was worried about today. He was actually worried about being 3-0'd by Xantroid, and he won that series 3-1. And this series, after the game with Xantroid, he spoke to me and said he was expecting to get completely destroyed by Seiliez, and that didn't happen. He managed to take a game off quite comfortably with a fantastic ending play. I think it was a good showing on everybody's part.
It was a good game. Good tournament all over.
Hey,
Looks like that's it.
that's pretty much it. I mean, do we have any sort of closing remarks or anything like that?
I could have played better. Everyone else played pretty well.
Okay. that's fair enough, honestly. Yeah, maybe we can do something like this again. Maybe once.
It's been pretty good.
Obviously, the initial intention of this tournament was to get the newer players more involved. Maybe once everybody's a lot more comfortable with the game, we can have, a sort of a tournament with a far higher skill cap. It might be interesting. to
Good.
watch.
Of course, this entire tournament's sponsored by whatever food you eat. Of course, whatever food you eat, the food that you have that you eat, it does exactly what you expect it to if you'd known all the variables of the food you were going to eat before eating it. So, yay for that.
Okay, we can take a quick break here and then come back with Seiliez to give his thoughts on how he thought the series went. So Seiliez is the victor of the tournament.
Whee. Wins all of 0 money, but it was well earned. Well earned.
Okay, we'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, everyone. So we're back for closing remarks, and we have with me Seiliez, who's literally just won the tournament. Say hello.
Hello.
um. So uh, yeah, I think we'd just like to sort of get your thoughts on how you think tonight went.
It's pretty fun. I enjoyed it.
That's good to know. Swift responses. Um. So that final. So obviously we started tonight off with the semi-finals. You not having a match, you just getting a free pass into the finals because sadly your opponent was taken ill today and he did forfeit the match. Um, so I guess we sort of have to talk about the final games and how they went. So you know, do you have any insight on the matchup between you and Ward27?
Most of his decks are pretty similar. Heavy tempo. I brought decks that wouldn't really shit on his decks, but so he would have a fair chance.
Okay. So you felt like his decks were a little bit too similar to each other, and that sort of gave you a bit of an edge, despite playing in such a way where you'd uh, try and give him a chance to.
To win. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough. So what about the decks that you did bring? So obviously we saw some very very strange things come out. We saw
Okay. Okay. I brought Reno Hunter.
Reno Hunter.
My opponent on the first stage, he brought Reno Hunter in my matchup, and I thought it was very interesting. So I built one for the final. I refined it a little bit, and I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's viable, but it's very fun. I think everyone should try it.
Okay.
And I held Reno, and he had no idea. No idea. Absolutely. Brought me to 7 health, and just Reno, that felt so good. That felt so good, man.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can imagine it. It always does. I mean, you see that Reno come down, and if you're on the aggressive side, then you just you have no answer to that. Um.
Next one was, let me remember. Do you remember?
It was a. So you brought Druid, Priest, which was banned. Was it Paladin?
Oh yeah,
It
it
was
was
the OTK Paladin, I think. The combo Paladin with the
OTK, Don Hancho, Leroy Paladin with Blessing. Oh my god, that was yeah. I had to cycle through my entire deck just to pull that off, but it was worth it. It was worth
Okay.
it.
So yeah, I mean
Imagine that's the highlight.
so Paladin, one of those Hunter and Paladin are the two weakest classes according to the stats at this point in Hearthstone. Um so yeah, it's interesting that you brought both of those, and you brought them out in very different ways. I mean, the only ways we do see either of these decks are in the form of uh anything Paladin and sort of the classic aggro hunter or the mid-range secret hunter. So it's nice to see slightly different variants of the decks. And for a tournament like this, where it was just for fun, I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring something common. I wanted to show everyone something new.
It's quite a stark contrast from the first day. You brought the triple aggro, 100% meta decks.
Yeah, so for the first day, I was planning on playing Shaman, Rogue, Warrior, and it was Reno Mage. Reno Mage, Aggro Shaman, Aggro Warrior, and Parrot Rogue. I imagine if I played that in this series, I would have just gone 3-0 with Shaman again, probably.
Confident words, confident words. So, so yeah, I mean, I guess the sort of position that we're in now, I think it's time for people to sort of take this as an experience and sort of improve their play. Spend some time, get some more cards, learn the various metas, trying to create something of their own and find their place in this game. Obviously you have the control players, you have the aggressive players and things like that. People finding their suitable archetypes while learning, things outside their comfort zone as well. So, I mean, I think the best thing to do now is probably to come back another time when everybody's a lot more comfortable and we see how much people have improved. I mean, if people can be real contenders.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how they progress. What did you think about the last match? The fatigue druid.
The which matchup in particular against the paladin?
Yeah, the first one where I lost.
Oh, the one where you lost. I thought. I think, for me personally, watching it, it was. It came down to perfect knowledge of what was in the deck on the part of Ward27, who managed to cycle perfectly into that Soulfire right at the end. And I mean, I have to say, Mildred versus Zoo. Zoo has the advantage in that matchup, so I'm not too surprised that he won. But at the same time, I thought the execution was fantastic.
Yeah, he played well. I agree. Wait, I thought he already had it in his hand, but it ended up. It was the last card in his deck, and I just gave it to him because I played the Murloc that draws you 2 cards, and
Yeah.
then he just got it, and then he just killed me. I think it was a mistake. Going for cycle with my Jade Idol, I should have just kept it because I needed the other cards in my deck.
That is something Rathios picked up on as well. He felt like you played the Jade Idol too early, and it left you with quite a few dead cards in hand, especially when you had Gadgetson and Jade Idol in hand. You could have left the cycle till endgame, and you could have, cycled into 3 Jades in one turn if you just left it
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Okay then, so I guess we can round it all off here. It was a great tournament, congratulations on your victory.
Thanks. I am the best.
That's good to hear. So yeah, we'll come back here another time, and we'll see how everyone's improved and things like that. We'll see how people perform. I'm excited to see what all the new players. I mean, Ward27 made it to the finals, and he'd only been playing for a month and a half now. And players like Xantroid who haven't played for a while, Rathios is interesting fact, completely free to play in this game, and he's shown himself to have a pretty good understanding of the game. So I'm excited to see how these players flourish, if you will. Anyway, so we'll close it off here. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for the tournament.